Everyone, good morning.
I'll be back. See you soon.
This is more or less for the recording. Is recording?
Yeah.
Okay, good morning. Hopefully everyone's awake. It's been a while since we had a seminar, so I know we sort of went our separate ways, and you guys are probably busy with school. Hopefully you're also busy with working on your startup or your nonprofit, and I know some of you have been making some progress. But today we want to talk about your value proposition and product market fit. What does that mean? Okay, so we'll get started. Before we do, some reminders. The next workshop after this is going to be November 18, and we're going to talk about creating a minimum viable product, an MVP. That's November 18, Tuesday, co-curricular. And then some events happening this week, in case you were not aware of. Thursday night, Thursday evening, there's a dinner with some guests that are coming, Herda and Hans von Stiegel. They are in finance. They live in Kenya. They manage very large projects over there. And they are Andrews alumni. They're coming here Thursday during chapel time. They're actually giving a talk in the Whirlpool room. You don't have to RSVP for that. If you want to come, you can attend that Thursday 11:30. But Thursday evening, we're hosting them for dinner at Campus Center. If you want to attend, it's free. Dinner is catered. But we are limited to only 50 people, so if you want to make sure that you can attend, RSVP through that QR code. So that's Thursday night. I know some of you may have labs or other classes going on at that time, but if you want to attend, please RSVP as soon as possible so you don't miss the event. And then Friday night this week, we're doing a workshop. Friday night is on electronics basics. What does that mean is that we're going to teach you how to put together a small electronic circuit. Basically a flashlight, and with an LED, you're going to solder that to other electrical components, a switch, and so on, and a battery, all that stuff. It's a very simple workshop. It's meant for everyone, so you don't have to have any prior experience with engineering, with soldering, nothing at all. And then after this workshop, there'll be another one later in November that will be a little bit more advanced. All right, so you can either come to this one, learn the basics, and then you can do the more advanced workshop later, or just wait until the advanced one if you already know kind of the basics of electrical engineering. Now, the point of these workshops is to help you develop skills for prototyping, for making things. So if you want to attend this one, please scan RSVP so we know who's coming. We know how many kids to have ready for you guys to do. Okay? All right. So on the previous seminar, we talked about getting out of the building and talking to potential customers. All right, and we talked about maybe you can go and interview or try to talk to 10 people and ask them about the problem they're facing, their unmet needs, and how that could inform your own product development. All right, so this is going to help you identify pain points, talk to people to better understand their needs. Now, this is key, whether you have done 0, 1, or 10 or more interviews so far. This is key that you continue doing. So it doesn't stop, even if you have done some of it, it doesn't stop now just because we're moving on to the next workshop. You should continue doing this. Why is this important? Because you need to validate both the problem and the solution that you are facing. So let's look at this journey really quick. Right, so you identified first a problem or unmet need. So you already did that on your own. Right, you found something, you're like, hey, I should do this. We could probably sell this product or provide this service. There's people who may want to buy it. You found something that you think is going to meet a need. And then we came here, we had a workshop where we talked about the Lean Canvas business model, right? Where you have your customer, your value proposition, your key partners, marketing plans, all that, expenses, costs. So you created that business model, and that model is only a hypothesis of what you think your business should look like. Right? You have no idea if it's going to work for sure, and it's a hypothesis. So how do you validate your hypothesis? You get out of the building and you go talk to people. The first step was problem validation, which is what we talked about last seminar, but in something you should continue doing now. Problem validation is you go talk to people and say, hey, I think you have this problem. Do you really have this problem? Right? I think you need to buy, I'm going to pick on Valerie for a moment here. I think you need to buy lip balm. Or I think you want a lip balm that will provide, I don't know, better health to your lips. Your lips look a little dry. Do you agree with me, right? So you're gonna go talk to people and figure out if they truly have that problem or not. Because you're trying to create a product that someone is gonna have to pay for, right? And if they don't really have that problem, they're gonna look at your product and say, well, I don't need this. I'm fine. You know, I'm not gonna pay $10, $20, $100 or whatever that you want. Right, so once you validate the problem, then you can update your business model with whatever information they're giving you. Then the next seminar, we're going to talk about how to build an MVP, a minimum viable product, or a prototype, if you don't have one already. And then the last step is that you're going to show that prototype to people, and you're going to watch them or hear them react to that. Okay, some of you already have prototypes, some of you have already been trying to sell those prototypes or those products. You've been showing them to people already and you have been watching their reaction to that. That's great. But make sure you continue that loop, that feedback loop going, where you continue to talk to people both about the problem they're facing and the solution that you're proposing for them. And if you don't have a prototype or an MVP, the next seminar will talk about more about how to create that, or what should it be? What should your prototype look like? Okay? So just wanted to give you that whole overview so that you understand, you know, the things that we're doing, that we're talking about, and why we're emphasizing these things. Okay? So again, this was the first seminar, the Lean Canvas business model. You already did this. I'm not going to do it again. We're just reviewing really quick some of the progress we have made. And if you haven't created a business model hypothesis, you can Google Lean Canvas business model. You can download, you know, a worksheet like this one, and you can fill it out just to catch up, right? But more likely, David has emailed you and given you instructions of how to catch up on maybe some of the seminars you have missed out. Okay, so today we're going to focus more specifically on the value proposition and how that fits in the product market fit. So that's right there in the middle of your business model. All right, so when you worked on your business model, we talked about a unique value proposition. And that unique value proposition, again, is a single statement, and you know, it highlights how your solution better meets customer needs than existing alternatives, or you can write it as an analogy. Just as a matter of review, you have a worksheet, a paper in front of you. I want you to write down quickly your unique value proposition right here on your paper under the first bullet point. So answer the first two bullet points. The third one is optional, but answer the first two bullet points just as a matter of you to review what you're working on It's a good exercise. You should be able to write your value proposition quickly and think about it quickly without having to think about it too hard. So I'll give you a couple of minutes, answer those two first bullet points, just so you can remind yourself, what are we talking about? What is my value proposition? What is it that I'm developing? And for some of you, you may have shifted or pivoted a little bit after what you've been working on. So maybe it's a good exercise to update it as well. All right, I see a few of you writing or finished writing your unique value proposition. Now, what's the difference between the unique value proposition that you wrote before and what we're going to be talking about today, the compelling value proposition? So the original unique value proposition you created was completely made up, if you will, or was just an idea of what you thought would be a good value proposition for your customers. Now, after you have been talking to customers, having more conversations, then now you can use those insights to better inform that value that you want to provide. If you haven't talked to customers yet and you're still in the process of doing that, then that's what should happen next. As you talk to them and you think you have a value proposition for them and they're like, I don't really care about that, then you should now have developed you can now develop a more compelling value proposition. What does that mean is that it's going to compel the customer to act on what you have to offer to them. Right? Before, maybe you come with something, like for example, I like banana bread. Right? If you bring me another type of cake, I'm like, I don't care. If you try to sell me any cake, you cannot sell it to me. But if you talk to me before, if you know me, you know that I like banana bread. So when you come selling banana bread to me, I'm gonna buy it, for sure. I should probably not be telling you this information, but I will pay whatever you want for good banana bread, right? That's a compelling value proposition because it's something that you know that I want. A non-compelling value proposition is when you just come trying to sell me stuff. Or you want to sell me tamales, that's another one. I will pay anything for a good dozen of tamales, right? But if you know me, then you can compel me to act on your value proposition. It's the same with your customers. If you know your customers so well enough that you almost feel like you're one of them, then you can compel them to buy anything. Right? Not that you're trying to take advantage of them, but you're truly trying to serve their needs, their actual needs and wants, and not just what you think they want. Okay, so that's the idea behind a compelling value proposition. Just reviewing quickly, last seminar we also talked about pain points, unmet needs, challenges, right? So these are all different ways to look at who your customer is, and so on. Okay, so recalling what you know about your customer, now we're gonna look at the second part of your paper here. And recalling what you know about your customer, what are your customers' wants, fears, and need. So we did this before, and now we're sort of reviewing a little bit, and then we'll get somewhere with this information. Okay, so I want you to fill in the part inside the circle, the customer wants, needs, and fears. Whether this is information that you think about your customer, or maybe information about conversations you've been having with customers. So what are your customer wants, needs, and fears? For those of you doing a nonprofit, it's sort of the same, right? We talk a lot about customer paying money for a product or service. In a nonprofit, the main difference is that sometimes the customer is not the one paying. There may be a donor or a grant paying on behalf of the customer, right, or the people that you're serving. Right? So the equation is a little bit different, but in the end, there's always, someone has to provide the resources for you to be able to provide a service to someone else. So think of it in the same way, right? What is it that the person needs? And what is the service that I'm going to provide to them? What are their wants, needs, and fears? Are there any questions so far? I know we're going a little bit quickly, want to make sure we get through it. But are there any general questions so far, something that is not clear to you? Okay. All right, sounds like we are on the same page. All right, so we've been talking about the value proposition. Yes, question?
Sorry. Yeah. Can you give an example of it and how you can
Can I give an example of a product? Okay. Yeah, so there may not be, wants, needs, and fears may not apply to every product necessarily. Right? I think some products draw on some of this more than others. I can go back to the banana bread example and say, I want to have a good taste of a banana bread. It's just a want, right? And I enjoy it, and that's it. There's probably not necessarily a need there. However, there could be a need depending on the customer a little bit more. For example, my mom used to make banana bread when I was a kid. So now it's more of a need than a want. Right? You can connect with the customer need more closely when you know them a little bit more. Right? Or I mentioned tamales. Well, I'm from Mexico, so I want them, but I also kind of need them from time to time, right? So now it's a closer connection. Fears. There's certain products probably that tie more to fears than a need or a want. For example, some people may want to buy a weapon to defend themselves, right? Maybe there's a genuine fear. They live out in the country and they have some rifles just in case a large animal shows up and they need to defend their cattle, right? So there's a genuine fear there that is connected to that. Does that make sense? Okay. Good question. All right, so we talked about value proposition. Now let's talk about what do we mean by product market fit. So in this pyramid, you have at the bottom, you have the market or the customer. And we've been talking a lot about who is your customer segment. And we also have the underserved needs. Right? There's something that this customer is lacking. And then at the top, is where you come in, right? UX is the user experience. You have features for your product or your service. You have a value proposition. Then the question is, does these two segments of the pyramid fit with each other? Are you trying to address a real need or want or fear? And if so, then there's a fit. Or are you trying to address, something that this person here doesn't want or need? Right, so that's what you have to think about. So you're pairing a good market with a product capable of satisfying that market. Now, how do we try to define if we have product market fit? How do we measure, right? There are some questions that can help indicate if there's product market fit. So first question is, in surveying customers or testing your product, is there any indication that a customer segment will switch to your product? So we talked about we're gonna make a prototype or an MVP of your product, and you're gonna show it to people. Is there any indication they will switch to your service or product they're currently using? Because they're currently doing something, they're getting by somehow, right? So no matter what you're bringing, they may need to switch from their current solution to your solution. Is there any indication from them that they will switch to that? If there isn't, and they're like, I'm happy with the way I'm doing things, then you're like, okay, this person is probably not my customer. Maybe I'm talking to the wrong person. Okay? Another question, are users who rejected other solutions on the market willing to try yours? All right, so maybe they don't have another solution, they're just not doing anything about it, because they look at other things in the market and say, I don't like any of them. Are they willing to try yours? Again, that's something that you need to ask them. You show them your prototype, you show them your MVP, you show them your product, you talk to them about it, and are they telling you, hey, I'm willing to try yours, that sounds interesting. Where can I buy it? Where can I get this? How do I become your customer? If they have that attitude and say, yes, I would like to try it, then you can start seeing like, okay, maybe this person is my customer. Okay, and another question, do users demonstrate an understanding of your product's unique features and unique value? Now, this is important because maybe they don't really understand your product, and that's the importance of a prototype or an MVP. Right? Something that you can show them, even if it's just a web page where you're talking about your product or your service features, even if you don't have the product built yet. But if you show them a web page with pictures, then that helps them understand what exactly are the features of your product or service, what is the value proposition that you bring into them, and then from there they can actually make an assessment and provide you feedback. Right? So are they demonstrating that they understand what you're selling? And if so, then you can start thinking, okay, maybe this person is truly my customer. Okay, so then continue here with our page. You wrote down on the circle wants, needs, and fears. Now, in response to that customer profile, right? The customer profile are their wants, needs, and fears. In response to that, what product features can uniquely address those wants, needs, and fears? Okay, so now you're connecting the circle with that square, and in that section of the product, it can be a benefit, it can be a feature, or it can be an experience. What are some of those benefits, features, and experience that your product has that is connected or addressing their customer wants, needs, and fears? You guys understand the question? So if you do, then in this square, start writing, you can write down some of your product features, some of your product benefits or the experience you're providing your customer based on what you have on the circle. Does that make sense? All right, I'll give you another couple of minutes. So we're trying to dive deeper into your customer profile based on what you know. And now we're addressing also your product features that should address your customer wants, needs, and fears, or your customer pain points. Okay. All right, let's carry on. We'll continue workshopping this as we go. All right, so again, you have a value proposition, you have you're looking for product market fit. That means you need a compelling value proposition, and you need to know which customers are you going to serve. Do I know who really is my customer? Which needs are you going to meet? And what relative price will provide acceptable value for customers and profitability for, actually shouldn't be for the customer, but for yourself. Okay? So now we're looking at customers, the pain points or needs, and also pricing. Also, that's also part of having a compelling value proposition. Because you can have a great product, you can be targeting the correct customer, but maybe it's too expensive and they can't afford it. Okay? So you have to address those as well. So which customers? Well, any given industry has several customer segments. Is your company specifically aimed at targeting one or more of those segments? Again, this is something we have already discussed. Which needs? This is based on what you know about the customer, once again, and it should be tailored to your customer. It shouldn't be just any needs. What relative price? Okay, some questions here to consider. Are there customers who are overserved and overpriced in your industry? So you have to look at the specific market you're trying to enter. I'm gonna pick on Paul here for a moment with the drink that he's developing. So are there customers who are overserved and overpriced in your industry? Yeah, okay. So then eliminate costs and meet minimum needs at a lower price, right? So you know there are other drinks out there that are very expensive, overpriced, and you're saying, well, I'm gonna bring you something maybe at a lower price. Or the opposite can also be true. Are there customers who are underserved? Right, so the current set of products in the market are just not enough for what the customer needs or wants. So in that case, you can create a premium product or service and charge a higher relative price. All right, so you have to observe the market and say, what is my strategy for pricing? Do I see that the current set of products are in the market, they're all really expensive, and they're more than what the customer actually needs? Right, for example, let's look at a phone. You know, you have phones of all pricing ranges. Let's assume for a moment that you only have phones at $1,000, and you can only buy a phone for $1,000. You could come into the market and say, I know there's people that would want to buy a phone that cannot afford it. I'm going to provide a lower cost option. Or the opposite is true. You go into the market and you observe that all the phones have very few features, and customers want more. They're constantly asking for more features. And there's not an option out there that can meet that need or want. Then you go into that market and say, I'm going to provide something that is a little bit more of a premium, but I know people will want to get it. Let's look at an example here for Amazon Prime. So compelling value proposition, Amazon Prime. Which customers are you going to serve? Frequent convenience-seeking online shoppers. Right, so that's the customer segment for Amazon Prime in particular, not all of Amazon, but just kind of their Prime service. Which needs are you going to meet? Speed, convenience, variety, entertainment, perks. Again, these are needs that are for people who are frequent, convenience-seeking online shoppers. Right? You don't want to wait a week for your package to arrive, and you go constantly online to buy, then Amazon Prime is a great package for you to purchase. Relative price strategy is a flat subscription, delivers perceived value, supports profitability, customer behavior to encourage frequent shopping. Okay? Costco has maybe a similar strategy as well, right? It's about convenience. It's about quality as well. More or less, it's convenience. You have to buy a membership to Costco, but then that membership encourages you to continue to go to Costco because you already paid for the membership, right? So that's their value proposition. Okay, so now let's try to do something similar for your product or service. Let me go through the examples first so you can have something to base it on. But this is in the back of the paper. All right, so you're gonna write this formula. Company name serves customer segment who value primary needs. All right, so you're gonna fill in the blanks. It meets these needs through what are your product features, and pricing model targets either underserved or overserved customers, providing a value, providing a certain value. So let me show you some examples to help you think about it, or if you already have it in your head, you can start filling in the blanks. But here's an example from Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime serves, so the company, Amazon Prime serves frequent online shoppers, that's the customer segment, who value speed and convenience. So speed and convenience are the needs that they are serving. It meets these needs through, and now it's going to list the features, through fast, reliable delivery and an extensive product selection. Right, so those are the features of Amazon Prime. Now it's going to talk about the pricing model. A flat subscription fee gives underserved customers better shipping, speed, and bundle benefits. Right, so in this case, Amazon Prime is assuming that the customer segment is underserved and that they want more, and they're willing to pay for it. Right, how much is Amazon Prime nowadays? I don't know how much it costs. Around $14, right? So you're paying $14 a month for just to have access to that service, right? But Amazon assumes there's enough people out there who are willing to do it because they want quick, fast, reliable delivery and an extensive product selection. Right? Let me give you another example. UberX. How many of you have been on an Uber before? Okay, do you know what UberX is? It's kind of more of the, I guess is that their luxury service? Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so UberX the company serves urban commuters and travelers, that's their customer segment, who value affordable on-demand transportation. So that's the primary needs. It meets these needs through a simple app, transparent pricing, and a large driver network. Those are the features of their service. A low pay-per-ride price gives overserved customers convenient at a lower cost. I guess UberX is just a regular service. So their hypothesis or their understanding of the market is that a low pay-per-ride price is the way to go. So that people only pay for that ride, and it's not too expensive, and it's convenient. Okay, so now it's your turn to try to fill in the formula. Again, it's on the slide. Company name serves customer segments who value primary needs, and so on and so forth. I'll give you, let's take the next 4 minutes and see if you can fill this up. one slide back
I mean, like,
to the example? Or? Okay. So what is this formula doing? Just so you, as you're working on it, what is this for? This is your compelling value proposition and product market fit formula. Okay, this is what is going to guide your startup for the next few months. And you can update this, of course. It's not written in stone. You can update it and say, you know what? That's not really my customer. Let me update it here. Maybe it's not that exactly. You can update your pricing model. Any of this you can change. But this is guiding your startup, your business, your nonprofit as you keep moving forward. Okay, this is the last part of the seminar today. And now I'm just going to talk about what the next step should be, and we'll end. So if you have questions, if you had trouble filling any of the parts of this worksheet, you can come talk to us after we're done. But yeah, keep at it. The feedback papers. Yeah. So you were all given a feedback, little small survey. So if you can just give those to David on your way out. We're not done yet, but on your way out, you give those to David. He will collect those. Just want to make sure we're always having that feedback loop open. Okay, is there anyone who wants to share some of their formula or all of their formula, if you feel confident enough to share what you've written so far? Just so everyone else can hear this example, maybe help them also understand their own. All right, let me give you the mic so everyone can hear you.
Sorry, I'm kind of sick. I said Rooted serves young, fashion, diverse people who value streetwear, comfort, their community, and heritage. It meets these needs through a line of creative, community-oriented work, one-time affordable, less than usual brand price targets underrepresented customers by providing personal, high-quality work.
Thank you, Jesse. Okay, so very, very straightforward. I think it makes sense what you wrote. Again, this formula, your compelling value proposition and how it fits with the market, the customer, is going to change. You can continue to pivot as you go. You can update it. You can talk to people and say, hey, what do you think about my product? Do you care about, in this case, do you care about, this fashion style or not? And people will tell you, and you can adapt that to the actual needs of your customer, right? But this formula should help guide how you're going to do marketing, what type of customers you're going to try to reach, the pricing, you're even now coming up with a pricing model. Is this a subscription? Is it a low cost? Is it high cost? Are you trying to sell this to everyone at an affordable price? Are you going for a niche customer segment at a higher price? Pablo, I'm going to pick on you for a moment. You mentioned RVs, right? That's a business you're going into, selling RVs. So that's probably not for the general population. Not everyone can afford an RV. So your customer segment is probably more. maybe families or maybe retired people who want to buy an RV. I don't know, you probably thought about this a lot more than me, but see, that customer segment needs to fit well with the value that you're trying to provide. All right, so what should you be doing between now and our next seminar on November 18? If you haven't already, continue to interview people to find out about their needs, their pain points. Right? Continue to talk to people to find out about their needs and pain points. Now, as you talk to them, these are some of the questions you should be asking yourself. Are there any gaps between your value proposition and product features? Right? So is your product truly representing the value you're trying to provide to customers? Or does it look totally different? Right? Can your value proposition inform how you approach your customers? Right? Is it telling you who you should go talk to, better informing you? And after completing this session, is there anything you would change from the initial product feature list you created, right? So as you are continue to search for product market fit, what needs to be changed to find a better fit? Again, keep getting out of the comfort zone, getting out of the building to talk to people, and continue to develop that product market fit more and more closely. That's only going to be done the better you understand the customer, the better you know them, and updating your value proposition, your product or service features based on what you know about the customer. Okay, so we have only 5 minutes left, so we'll do the co-curricular attendance for those that need the credit. And once again, the handwritten surveys, please complete those as you exit. If you need to ask me a question, I'll be here. And the surveys, if you can give to David in the back. All right, once again, November 18 is our next seminar. That is in 2 weeks, I believe. Yeah, that's in 2 weeks.